Dawn's big entrance coming in.
Good morning.
Morning, Dawn.
Morning, Mark.
All well?
Yes?
Got your red lipstick, done your hair?
Yeah, went mad. I put underarm on as well.
Oh. Well,
That's only because they mentioned it on the telly that sales have gone really down. And so I thought I'd just mention I have got underarm and perfume on.
Yeah. Very good. Personal hygiene.
Yeah, I'm keeping my personal hygiene up, apparently. They're letting it go everywhere else, but I'm keeping mine up.
Well, that's interesting. Well, by the way, this is episode 33, Saturday, 25th of April.
I've checked, you've got recording on as well.
I've got recording on as well, yeah. Sorry about that, viewers. Yesterday, we got quite a few views of the aborted session, or the back end of it.
Not very flattering pictures. But never mind. That's how we felt at the time.
It just goes to show, because feedback was a lot yesterday. Probably a lot of tutting going on and not raised eyebrows.
We're not the only ones that have these problems. Even the media are having problems sometimes. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, Az wasn't Wi-Fi. Az was just the producer, not up to.
Yeah. Well, I fired the producer, and I had to re-employ him again because there was no one else.
No. But not a lot of feedback to go through, so we won't, got time to explore your brain a little bit if necessary. Let's go through the stuff. First of all, kudos to my brother Adam, who popped up this morning with the correct guess for the music yesterday, which was Sports Night, often presented by David Coleman or Des Lynam. Used to be midweek sports show. I always remember it because I used to have to go to bed early with my brothers, and then a special treat, my dad would get me up to be able to watch the football highlights, possibly later on Sports Night. So that music has always meant something. But and now on to music that doesn't mean anything at all. So hang on a second. I'm just going to...
Are you playing one of my favourite ones then?
You might get it. I mean, you sit and watch enough TVs and stuff. So here we go. There you go. What do you reckon? Got any ideas? Don't say anything.
What's the point of asking me if I've got any ideas if I'm not allowed to say anything? That is the most stupidest question I've ever come across.
No, you just say yes or no.
I have.
Oh, okay, excellent. Right, pitched it well. See, let's see if anyone can get it. I'll talk to you afterwards about that. Right, next thing, guest appearance photograph, feedback, fan coming up. So we need to go to share the screen. And this morning, we've got Andy Poppleton.
Andy Poppleton. Oh.
Yeah, a rare photograph of him in full flight in recent times, because he coaches more than runs, but he turned out and ran a 400-metre hurdles last year for British League team. So fair play to Andy, and he's given us quite a lot of feedback over the 32 previous episodes. So thanks to Andy.
Yep.
Right, good. Other feedback. On the meeting a celebrity front, Graham Saker remembered, I don't know how he forgot, but he'd met Frank Bruno a number of times, because he's got a caravan up near where Graham lives. And total gent is how he described him, which is nice to know, isn't it? Graham had also met Jimmy Savile in the past, but he made no comment on
he didn't want to comment, which is not surprising, really. Let's be honest about it.
No, I don't know if Graham met him on Jim Will Fix It as a little lad or whatever, but yeah.
Let's not go there.
No. Hubert Bunce said he hadn't met any celebrities, but he actually had a meeting with the only ever female Prime Minister of Canada.
There you go. I'm going to have to research now because I don't know who the only female president of Canada is. So I'm going to have to do a bit of research, aren't I? That's a little job for me.
Yeah, and Grazia Manzotti, you've really rung a, what's it called? Rung a chord?
Battled her cage.
No. Struck a bell? No, rung.
Oh, it struck a chord, it
Struck
is.
a chord, yeah. With Grazia, over your media experiences. She's been involved with the University College London, UCL, on some research into schools and how pupils are doing and the reopening of schools. And that was published. And she's been quite close to it and has been completely twisted to suit the media agenda. And that's been Grazia's annoyance in the last couple of days. So it just goes to show it's happening all over the place. Remember, I mentioned that guy, a footballer who'd run the 5K.
Yeah.
A report on that. So yeah.
Also, Grazia mentioned that her neighbour watches the 5 o'clock BBC News and gets quite down and depressed, which is so easy to do, even if you're upbeat. If you listen to the news and the way they attack everything, I'm sure we didn't perform like this in the war. I mean, I must ask my mum when this is all over how she felt when, but she was only a little schoolgirl, so it would have been better if I'd have asked me grandparents, but of course they weren't around to ask. So it's so difficult because I feel we're at war. It's not that we're shooting other people, it's that we're all combating this virus, and it's pretty scary because even though you think you've eradicated it, like I mentioned yesterday with China shutting down a 10 million city because they've got 2 or 3 cases and they want to trace them, etc., and they want to continue as normal life. And I don't know how long they're going to shut that down. That might be a week, it might be 2 weeks before they've traced everybody. They're pretty aggressive in China, so you just don't know anymore. But I do think that the media should try and cheer the nation up rather than depress them.
Well, your mum was about 10, wasn't she, during the war?
Yeah, she must have been about 10.
Yeah. So that's your project, to ask her about her experience in the war, of how they kept morale up.
All she's ever told me about is the fact that she hid in a bush when the bombs were being dropped. So, I mean, I have no idea. Her brother apparently pushed her into the bush and said, "Stay there." And that's about the length of. But I'm sure she's got some stories that she can tell me, like the bombing and everything else. Well, maybe other people know. Perhaps they could tell us.
I was thinking about this because Alan Buckle wrote to me, and Alan watches this, and he was talking about some of the athletics events that were held just before the lockdown, like the Bath Half Marathon and the Big Half. I went to the English Schools Cross Country Championships, and we were wondering whether it was feasible to do a study of the people that attended. I mean, you go in a bigger scale, and the Cheltenham Festival, of course, for horse racing was thousands there. But I wondered whether it would be possible to see a survey of the people that attended these events and what their health had been like, and those close to them since.
I don't think you're going to see a survey. I think someone needs to, perhaps conduct a survey, etc. I mean, we're all sitting at home. I doubt if they've done one yet, but I think you're right. Perhaps we should be more proactive in trying to eradicate the disease. I'm sure there are a lot of people at home that could be useful in this type of thing.
Yeah. Same with schools who were open. What would be the result of that? Does it show that keeping schools open was a bad thing or not? I'd like to know some facts, and I think the media could do more on those sorts of things. The other thing, how was the virus contracted by people, indoors or outdoors? That's another thing that's cropped up. But if you were asking the questions, have you thought about what questions you would like to ask?
Well, my main concern would be that, for instance, at the moment the A&Es are not seeing so many patients going through the doors, and they have said that the hospitals are open to everything else, and they are keeping the coronavirus people separately, they're not in the same ward as someone as ever. But I mean, this morning you saw a complete warmth. So my question would probably be: is there any way that we could perhaps start some operations, etc.? Is there enough staff to release from the coronavirus epidemic to be able to go back to some routine hospital operations, so that people feel that they're not forgotten as well? Because you just don't know, do you? I have no idea how, you get to the stage, if your treatment's been stopped, how serious that is. And I'm not expecting the government to be able to answer that, because it would be something down to the hospital, and it's something confidential between you and your doctor. I wouldn't want my condition to be blasted over the news, etc. But I would like to see that, is there a sort of like plan that we can release the people from the coronavirus epidemic, perhaps in London, for instance, where the cases are falling, etc. Maybe we could start some routine operations. Is there a plan? Is where I would be coming from.
Yeah, yeah. And on the sporting front, I've been thinking, I wonder how people are feeling physically and mentally. Are they ready to roll with competition? Are they physically ready? In a month's time they could compete very well. Are they happy with where they're at with their training? And mentally, are they in a good state, motivated, enthusiastic, or in a bad way? I'd like to see more on that sort of thing from the sporting front. Personally, I've gone through a few stages. I'm feeling a bit lazy now. I've got a mix of Ozark, Afterlife 2, Last Dance with the Chicago Bulls, and podcast Business Wars going on. And I'm sort of flicking through and alternating between all of those, and that's not how I would normally operate.
No, I mean, I must admit, I'm doing a little bit more sort of like cooking, etc. I went shopping yesterday, so I saw your mum and dropped off her bits and pieces. We kept 2 meters apart, and then I popped in to see my mum. I had a couple of things that I wanted to give her that I'd got, and shopping wise, and I needed some mints in the garden, etc. But I must admit, I think my mum felt quite safe about coming near her, and I said, I want to hug you, love, but I just can't. And that was the hardest thing. And it does make you sort of like reflect on this. But I mean, I've had mood swings. Today I felt a bit sort of like down, and then I sort of like think, and I saw this poor gentleman who's gone for his treatment in hospital, and his wife's not allowed to go, and he's sort of like, he's teary. He says, my wife's not allowed to come, and he says, I miss my grandchildren. I haven't seen my grandchildren. And it's that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not really that hard done by. There are a lot of people worse off than me. And I think if you can try and remember that, it sort of like lifts my spirits. So to now, I'm feeling okay. I'm ready for the day. I'm going to get on with it.
Right, good stuff. Yeah, okie doke. So we'd like from the feedback from viewers on what questions or surveys would you like done to give you some answers to things that have been spinning around in your head. That should be interesting.
It should, yeah.
Yeah, don't be too rude. All right. Okay. Say goodbye, Dawn.
Bye, Mark. See you later. Bye, everyone else. Bye.